So my family's originally from Puerto Rico. When my parents came from Puerto Rico, didn't know any English, and they had what I call black-collar jobs because the jobs were so dirty. They worked in these factories. There were 7 of us, and so my mother became disabled, just a back injury, and so she couldn't work any longer. So my father had to work, and he was only at the time making I think it was $17,000 a year. So we lived on public assistance, with the food stamps, the government cheese, the powdered milk, public assistance. I get that. And we lived near the Humboldt Park area, which is right by the Cabrini Green housing project. So, we understood the drugs, we understood the violence. I have friends who were in the cemetery, friends who were in prison. People always ask me, what was my prime motivator? And I said, fear. It was basic fear. I didn't want to work in a factory, so I stayed in high school. So I decided to get a degree in electrical engineering. Why engineering? Because they made money. So I was totally money driven. I graduated from an inner city public school, 3rd in my class. When I got to college, I couldn't compete. I could not compete. I realized what a private education is and what a public school education is, and there was a big gap. And so the first year I had to drop all my classes and take remedial classes. So it took me 5.5 years to graduate from college, but I was determined to graduate because I was too afraid of quitting. When we lived in the hood, in the neighborhood, it was predominantly Black and Hispanic. That's it, right? You didn't see Caucasians. And so, but when I went to college, that wasn't the case anymore. Now, obviously, Caucasians, whites, but you also have, Middle Easterns, you have Latin Americans, because not all Hispanics are created equal. So now this was truly a melting pot for me, and that was the beginning of what I call culture shock, because now I was out of my comfort zone, and I had to deal with all these different types of people. And what I realized after a while, they have the same problems I do. That was the beginning of the transformation, because college to me was so pivotal. And when I came out of college, I was different. I remember going to a family reunion, and one of my cousins came up to me and he says, I listened to you. And he said this, he goes, you sound white. And I said, thank you. That's all I said to him. I said, thank you. Every single summer, I was interning somewhere. My language changed, how I thought changed, my thought process changed, how I looked at things changed. And all of a sudden, I began to see more opportunities where others couldn't see it. So I'd broken out of that hermetically sealed bubble, and I could see things differently. And that to me was the biggest culture shift.